We welcome you to the Priscilla R. Tyson Cultural Arts Center for our Conversations and Coffee as we come together on this 16th day of November 2023. This beautiful day, high 60s, huh? With a week from today being Thanksgiving. I'm Ellen O'Shaughnessy, coordinator of Conversations and Coffee. We're delighted to have with us Robie Benve, whose work in mixed media painting is amazing. Robie was born and raised in Italy, and she shares the first in her family to graduate from college. She earned an MBA in 1996 from the University of Venice in Italy. In 2010, Robie relocated to Columbus and embraced her passion for art, painting every day and furthering her education in art. Robie creates vibrant artworks using water media paint and mixed media such as paper, ink, markers, and fibers. Her work is characterized by the inclusion of patterns and marks that she creates with her hand-cut designs. Robie's work has been exhibited in shows all over Ohio and is in private collections in the United States, Spain, and Italy. Robie has received 3 grants from the Greater Columbus Arts Council and has been an artist in residency at the Grange Insurance Audubon Center and in Padua, Italy. Examples of her work can be found on her website, robiebenve.com, and at Marcia Evans Gallery in the Columbus Short North Art District. One of her paintings, The Colosseum, is featured on a mural in the Short North. We ought to be taking off and going over to see it, huh? We will. Robie works as the art coordinator at the Ohio State University Faculty Club. Just a few of Robie's past exhibits include solo and 2 artist shows at the John Glenn International Airport, 2019. First Community Village, 2017, and a show entitled Sky High at our very own Priscilla R. Tyson Cultural Arts Center in 2015. Awards and achievements include Artist Residency in Padua, Italy, April of 2023. Recent, huh? Best of Show at the 18th Annual Dublin Paint Out in Dublin, Ohio. First place at the Dublin Area Arts League Fall Show in 2020, and many more exhibits and awards. Wonderful. Congratulations, Robie. We're so grateful you're with us today. Yay. All right, take over. And there's a microphone there, and I can have one here.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for the beautiful introduction. And it's thrilling for me to be here at the Cultural Arts Center and sharing at a conversation and coffee that I've been attending for years in the audience and being inspired by other artists. So I'm really happy about the opportunity, and welcome everybody. And the TV is here as well, so that adds up to this special event of the day. As we said, my name is Robie Benve, and I'm from Italy, and I'm going to share today my artistic journey that started here in Columbus, Ohio. These are 2 examples of my work. That's the Colosseum that Ellen mentioned is on the mural in the Short North. It's at the corner of High and Lincoln. And the other one is a painting of the United States, just to show my trip from Italy to America. Originally, I'm from Venice, and that's home. Though my family lives like on the mainland, but I went to the University of Venice, and I consider that my home. And I found myself in Columbus, and it was a blessing that really changed my life. Shortly, that's like a screenshot of my 3 lives. In Italy, I was a business person, I grew up in a family that has a shoe stores and shoe retail business. So I thought my life was going to be that. And that's my studied. I studied to be ready to run the business and manage it. But then I met my husband that also is Italian, and he's a scientist, and he had an offer from the National Cancer Institute to work in Frederick, Maryland for a year, he said. And he went, we weren't married yet. 2 years and a half later, he said, how about we get married? You join me here for a year and then we go back. I said, okay. So we got married. I moved to Frederick, Maryland, and I was working for the Department of Defense, and I ended up uh, putting roots down because I figured this guy is not taking me back. His science was branching out, and he always had new projects and things. He was basically never done, and he was offered nice positions. So we had 2 kids there and bought a house. And I loved my job. I did 3 years of financial counseling to the soldiers and 6 years as the functional technology specialist. Nothing to do with art. I did art on the sides because I always loved art. And when I had time, I was drawing and painting. So by 2010, he had another offer from OSU. And he basically said, we're moving to Columbus, Ohio. What do you think? And I'm thinking, oh, is it closer to the beach? I said, nope, look at the map. I was like, oh. So it took me a while to accept the idea of moving from there because I loved everything that I had in Maryland. But it turned out to be the best thing I could have done in my life. Because the moment I arrived here, I started painting every day because I had time. I said, yes, I'm coming, but I'm going to take 1 year of sabbatical. That was my condition. And the kids were like kindergarten and third grade, so I could take care of them, take care of the house. For the first time, I had all the time in the world, and I was painting. And so I found online all the online challenges. People used to post pictures and ask artists to interpret that with your medium and send them in. And it was a big era of blogging. So I did become also a blogger. I had my blog called Positively Robie for years. And I was also listening while I was painting to podcasts, especially the Artist Helping Artists by Leslie Saeda. And she is an amazing artist, and her background is in marketing, and she was giving a lot of great advice and tips that I really took to heart because I was starting. So I thought, okay, I'm here in the United States. I'm now in the Midwest, and I want to be an artist. People have studied years. I'm starting now to really learn because everything I did was just out of my own natural skills. I never really studied art. And so I said, I need to do this well. I need to learn. I need to get better. I need to do it seriously or not at all. So I started taking classes, reading books, watching videos, and everything. I did a lot of plein air painting and listened to webinars. And the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. So I'm still doing all of that. This is me. I started taking classes here. This is me downstairs in the painting studio. This picture is probably a little later. I started taking classes in 2011 at the Cultural Arts Center, and I'm still coming. I discovered a Thursday morning open studio, and I love it. That's like go-to. And during the years, I've done also other classes, but that is me downstairs painting. Meanwhile, one of the episodes of the Artist Helping Artists podcast, Leslie Saeda said, there is always something you know, and you think it's a simple concept that somebody else doesn't know yet. So there is always something that you can share and help others, even if you think it's a given knowledge to you. It seems like it's a common sense. So I started thinking about that, and I found a job offer. There was monster.com at the time where you found job openings, and they were looking for freelance writers that to write about what you know. I'm like, this is perfect. Let me look into it. Are they legit? Are they, scam or something? It was a very serious website. So I joined them, and it was called hubpages.com. And now they have all different branches. And the art branch or niche is felt magnet. So right now I have about 122 articles with them. And most of them are on felt magnet because they're about art, painting skills, and things like that. One of them is how to ruin paintbrushes. So anything that happened in my life, like, okay, I can write about this and somebody might actually get the benefit from it. In 2013, I transitioned to oils, and um, actually that painting was done here at the Cultural Arts Center in a workshop with Kim Casebeer, and she's amazing. She came from Kansas, I think, and taught the workshop. One day we went outside, and that was a view under the bridge. Now it looks different. It's no longer like that. I did an 8x10 of the view on site, and then we came into the studio and we brought it into a bigger canvas. So this is it's probably a 20x24 or something like that. So that was one of my first oil paintings that I did. And I loved oils because you can blend. So I started doing a lot of skies and clouds because you can blend the edges much better than acrylics, and a lot of plein air because acrylic outside was drying very fast. So when you paint on location, oil is much more suitable. And I had so many sky paintings. By 2015, I had my first solo show here in the Loft Gallery of the Cultural Arts Center. So that was my very proud accomplishment. And that year also I got my American citizenship. So that was like a special year altogether. This is an example of my plein air. This is a view of in Bexley at the Jeffrey Mansion. And this is also the day that I discovered that when you paint over an ugly painting, you can benefit from the texture that is already there. So a lot of the texture in this painting was from a previous painting that I flipped sideways. It was horizontal, I made it a vertical. And it became, a lot of the color that was there peeks through and enriches the current painting. And now I do that all the time. That's part of how I paint now. In 2018, 19, so we're like 5 years later, I started having some feelings every time I was painting. I had tingle in my mouth, bothering me all the time. And it happened every single time I was painting. So I was wearing rubber gloves, try to do no Gamsol, try to change brand of paints. It would never go away. So I realized it's the oil paint. Whatever oil paint I was using, safflower oil, linseed, or walnut oil, they were all giving me that tingle in my mouth. And this is the last oil painting that I've done. And I have done it here. This is the workshop with Sarah Sedgwick. She came, another guest artist that came here to the Cultural Arts Center, amazing still life painter. And she had all these still lifes set for us on the tables, and we were painting what we saw from life. And it was an amazing workshop, like 3 days, I think. And after that, I was like, okay, I need to close the oil paint off and move on. So I started mixed media. Mixed media is acrylic, is water-based, and I included always papers and other things to get some more texture, some more interest. This one has paper and water-soluble pastels, the edges They have a lot of that water-soluble pastels. And these polka dots are from the paper, the tissue paper that had already a pattern. And so that's what I started to do. Meanwhile, I was kind of unsure of what to do. Okay, this was 2018. I had the tingle. I didn't really want to go back to acrylics. And I saw this advertisement about a meditational workshop of paper cutting with Leah Wong. It was at the Ohio Craft Museum in Grandview. And I said, why not? It's a Saturday afternoon. Let's do it. And you never know where your inspiration comes from. I did it just because I had a free Saturday afternoon and I thought it was a cool thing to do. And I went, and she had us cut out children's books in a way that you just cut everything that is recognizable, eyes and words. And by the end, you have this lace of paper and you had no idea what was there to start with. So I went home and I kept cutting. I just loved the. It was really meditative. I think it was probably that was the part that kept me doing. But then these papers were amazing and they were beautiful and there were hours of work in each of them. I said, how can I include this in my work? If I glue it on a painting and then the painting doesn't come out right, I lost hours of paper cutting. And what am I going to do next? So I started cutting cardstock at home, and I have some samples here. And I thought, okay, I'm going to cut my own papers that are not from a children's book. I can just randomly draw and then cut the negative space and use them as resist. So all of these, and you can pass them around and you can see them. They start as, I have a stack at home that is huge. They start as regular paper, and then with the acrylic, they become kind of plasticky. I end up using always the same side for some reason. So you can still see in the back sometimes my drawing and what the guides that I did to cut them.
Do I see these patterns?
In the painting, I think it's this one. Yeah. See? So that is a corner of a painting. So it's like a detail of one painting. So once I discovered this really helped me thinking differently and using more color theory and how colors interact together when you lay them like this. And I also I like the fact that, okay, it's water, but there is a shape. There is a brush stroke, but it's a stone. So I like that play with my mind and my eyes of what it is up close and what you see when you step back. So this is how I start a painting. See if it starts. So you have a video there. Yeah. So this is me starting that painting there in the middle with the waterfall. I glue down painted tissue paper that has acrylic on them, because what I do is acrylic is plastic, basically. It dries to be plastic. And every time you rinse your brush in the water and you pour it down the drain, it goes into the water flow. And I don't like that idea. I try to avoid to have the microplastics and all the plastic going into the water. So I started cleaning my brushes really, really well on tissue paper. And I end up with these sheets of tissue paper that are very colorful. And I have several and different color schemes. And like if I have the green, I will clean it up on the green sheet. Or if I have the blue, I go to the blue paper. So they stay kind of consistent. And then I can use them like that for shapes. So that gives some texture. I glue it down with acrylic gel medium. that is basically acrylic paint without any pigment. It's just the base of the acrylic paint. And then I start building up layers on top of that. Let's see if I can find my things down here. Sorry. So this is how I create the texture, basically, with the tissue paper, and then I use thick paint and acrylic medium that gives texture, and also the hand-cut stencils. So I'm having a lot of fun with this. I feel like I found my thing. Hello. So the fact, that allergy bummed me down so much, and I thought, okay, I don't know what to do now. And I think I found it actually helped me. It was a blessing in disguise, as they say. Sometimes I include fibers, and actually I have a couple of works in progress here that we can pass around just to show. These are not finished, maybe. And they are, you can see the fibers in these, which is exactly the same size as that one. The fibers are on the arches. And once they are glossy because they are, again, glued down with some gloss gel medium. And then at the end, they will be unified with varnish. But I found that they create some extra depth and texture and interest. And I get the fibers from the discard bin here in the weaving studio. So it's all connected to the Cultural Arts Center. In 2020, I had a nice, big enough body of work with my mixed media. So I had my solo show at Marsha Evans Gallery, and they were mainly city scenes, and some of them were not, like the three portraits on the left, but most were city scenes. And I actually made a book that I have here from that body of work. One of the best, let's start one here and one there. One of the best things that I learned last year from a master class, Kimberly Brooks from Los Angeles. The beauty about COVID is that it brought up the Zoom classes are normal now. So you can have classes with whoever you want in the world. And this artist, she is very big in promoting yourself and how you present yourself and things like that. And one thing she told us is that every single body of work, you have to honor it with a catalog or a book. So this is, I don't know if this will, the book is also online.
Into your paintings now and see those patterns.
Yeah, thank you. It's not showing up on the screen well. But the book is also online. It's not showing up, that's fine. And it's on my webpage, also my website. There is a link, and people can flip through and see that book online and just see all the paintings. And you can zoom in and out. And this is a painting of Venice that has paper, tissue paper, and acrylic. And I did some of the patterns with the stencils, but in this one, they were covered up by thick paint, and I use palette knife sometimes to put down the thick paint, and that covered up some of that, but they're under there, the patterns.
In here.
Right. If anybody has questions, feel free to let me know.
Amazing.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering where you had your books printed.
The website where I upload them to have them online is called issuu.com. So it's issue with 2 U's at the end, NOE. And once you upload the PDF, they create the online book, and it's there to flip through for free. From there, you can order a hard copy, and they send you to a different website for the printing. It is called Peecho, Peecho. So they're connected. But basically, you start from issue. The hard part is to create your PDF. That's really the learning curve was for me to create the PDF so that when you upload it, it fits the pages, and it's all looking good.
What I wanted to say basically was that it looks like everything in here is a masterpiece. It looked like it's based on the impressionistic style, but they're masterpieces because they center in on certain details that a lot of artwork doesn't center in on.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. When my art classes were limited to middle school, because in high school in Italy you pick your school based on the profession, and I did accounting and economy. So because I was going into the business field, and we had a very good art teacher in middle school, and I was completely in love with Impressionists. And I think I copied several with oil pastels back then. I remember it was one of my passions. So for you to say that, that's a great compliment. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Like Monet.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
How do I put into words? Is it like a contemplative playfulness in that sky? Do you have a good time doing that too?
Yeah, this one I started with some charcoal words. It says wonderful, art, fun, summer. Can't even see them anymore. They're kind of covered, but you can kind of see them. And music paper. So there is music paper. His shirt and her shirt are the two places where you can see it the most. But often I like to hide music paper in my paintings, and let it see a little. If you look up close and then you see it, it has thread here, again from the beans over here, for the lines of these cards. So I had a lot of fun. Yeah, fun is a good word for it. Yes, it's playful and fun, like the fair should be, right? Yeah. And this one on the screen is a painting that I did on location in Dublin, and it's the same position where I did this other one on a different year. Basically, I was standing by the pedestrian bridge. On that year, which was 2021, the guy came by and said, "Make sure you have me in the painting." And I said, "Oh, yeah." So I took a picture of him.
I'm sorry. Isn't that over near Riverside Drive?
This is, yes. This is in Dublin, Ohio. You cross the bridge and you are on the other side where Riverside Drive is. Yes. And so I actually put him in the painting. And when he came back, he recognized himself. He said, "Oh my gosh, that's me and Nala." So it's Ed and Nala. Nala is the dog. And he bought the painting. So that was, and this one also got best of show that day. So that was wonderful. It was like a great adventure. This one was the same position the year after, 2022. And it was kind of foggy in the morning. So you can see the difference in the colors because it was a foggy, bluish day. That is when I participate in the Dublin Paint Out competition, which I've been the chair of that event for many years. And now somebody else from the Dublin Art League is chairing it, but I'm still competing. So a lot of people that know me say, "Hey, you are everywhere. You are doing too many things." And I feel like it's true sometimes. I feel like one of the main challenges in everybody's life, especially artists, is to find the balance with all the things that we're doing. And if you think of an artist as a small business, which we are making the product, we are selling it, we're doing the marketing, we are, if somebody buys it from you have to ship it. You are keeping track of the accounting. Of course, we are doing our own PR, public relations, social media expert, because you have to be on social media. And then you need to have a website, so you need to be a webmaster, unless you want to pay somebody, which is a different ball game, because then you need to have the money to pay somebody to do that. most of us have a day job that pays the bill regularly, the bills, and then you have your family life. You might be a spouse, a parent. You have to go to the gym and try to lose weight. You have to do some gardening. There is all of that in the life. So it's a big juggle of things, and I find that I'm trying to do as much as I can and as good as I can in a lot of them. One thing that helps me is a sentence that a teacher told my son in sixth grade. They were doing mock up presentation to the United Nations or something in class, and they were all nervous, the students. And she was like, fake it until you make it. She was telling the kids, just show up and pretend that you know what you're doing and just go with it. It's going to be okay. And I said, I'm going to take that sentence too hard. I'm going to just fake it until I make it. Just pretend that I know what I'm doing. And there are several things that I have been doing. And another thing that inspired me was a sentence from Leslie Saida from the Helping Artists podcast that I mentioned earlier. She said, sometimes as an artist, you have to be like, you have a bunch of sticky notes and you throw them to the ceiling and you just hope that some will stick. And you don't know which ones are going to stick. You have to try different things and see what happens, what works. And so that's a feeling sometimes that I'm trying different things. So
And the humor of your Google coming through. There was Google behind all those sticky notes.
There was, yes. Because
Yes. Did you do that
that's
intentionally?
True. That's true. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
This is a picture that I found on Pixabay, just to give the idea. But so these are some of the things that I found that work for me, that I'm doing most regularly or that I have done in the past and have worked. One of the main things that I love to do is to connect with groups of artists and network with artists and with art lovers. I'm a member of several different art organizations, like the Dublin Area Art League, the National League of American Pen Women at the Central Ohio branch, the Ohio Plein Air Society. I've been a member of the Worthington Art League and the Central Ohio Plein Air, and I had a studio in a High Road gallery and studios in Worthington for 6 years, where there are 13 artists, and it's open to the public. It's a great place. And I go to all the gallery openings that I can fit into my schedule. I try to go and support the artists and support the art community or open studios and other art events. This one is a picture from last year's Big Arts Night that was hosted by the Greater Columbus Arts Council. And it was an amazing night of celebrating artists and the arts. And I cannot say enough good things about the GCAC. They are an amazing organization. I think we are very lucky to have them here in Columbus. Another thing that worked for me was the Art Pop Street Gallery billboard. It was a competition. You had to submit a crop, very specific crop of an image of your artwork. And if you were selected, they would put it on a billboard all around. Well, there was one billboard, but they moved it around town for several months in each location. And it was also at the Columbus airport and the downtown behind the newsstands. It was a great exposure. And I was selected. They even paid me $500 for the copyrights of my image. And I was super happy about it. So I went, and this was during COVID. So not many things were happening during COVID, but this one was a super happy thing that happened. Oh, that's the billboard on the picture with that's a newsstand on. It was on High Street near Broad Street. Yeah. I also applied for Artsy Shark to be a featured artist. The first time I was not selected. The second time I was. So they had a wonderful spread out of my paintings and my story on their website, which is still up. And then they featured me on their social media. And this is something that every artist can look into. They are looking for new candidates every 2 or 3 months. They always look for new people to feature. And jury shows. Jury shows are for artists. They are a great thing, but then it's also, you have to know that you have to deal with the rejection letters. Every time you submit, especially if they are high quality, highly competitive jury shows, most likely you get a rejection letter. It's some places that I submit, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a rejection, but I need to submit. And one of the reasons that I don't know who told me this, but I think it was great advice. You have to submit, okay, because you might get in, you never know, but also because then your art is in front of people. There are curators of shows. You might not be selected for that specific show, but they have seen your art, they've read your statement, they kind of, you're kind of in the back of their head. And if they're looking for somebody doing that kind of art, sometimes they might just call you and you never know. So that's one extra reason why I just eat up those submission fees and, and try to submit. And sometimes I get in.
That is true. That is true. Jan says. Uh-huh. C'est vrai. It's true.
It's true. So, talking about the GCAC, which is the Greater Columbus Arts Council, they have these grants, and I received one. I applied 3 times, and I got it 3 times. And the great thing about that is because it's a non-competitive grant. So if there is the money, and you have a compelling application, meaning that you show that you are a professional artist and you're doing your own work and you have plans to what to do and where to show it, you probably get the money. And so I'm always telling every artist you should apply. As long as they have the money, everybody should apply for this because it's a great resource and it really helps. I don't know if anybody has a comment on that.
Experienced a similar. Jen, tell us about it.
Well, I heard about it, I think, in 2019. I've gotten 3. I don't think I applied 2020, but every time I've applied, I've gotten it. It's been really helpful. I've had a kiln. I went to a conference, paid for the conference, and also paid for my, they started now paying for your travel and expenses so that I could actually be an instructor part of an art retreat.
Right.
Wonderful. Congratulations on that.
It used to be that they only paid for things that kind of touch your artwork. They have to be included or used to create. But now they pay for travel if you're going for professional growing, if you're going to workshops, and they also pay for marketing expenses. I think somebody got to buy a camera to take pictures of her work, a professional camera. So it's really an amazing thing. I could not say enough good things. I'm telling everybody to apply. So at one point they will run out of money and there is, I'm going to apply. Right. It's like when I tell people about the good spots to park, at one point they're not going to be available anymore. So the artist residencies are a great thing. And I have I've been lucky that I applied for 2 and I got in both. This one is the one I did in the spring of 2022 at the Grange Insurance Audubon Center. And it was long. It was from April 1st to June 15th. They gave me a huge room that in the center where I could have my studio set up and a display of my work that could be for sale if people. So, and the only requirements were that I had to be there 2 days a week, at least, and I had to have a community project and interact with the public when it came through, when people came, which I love to do anyway. So it wasn't a big problem. The community project that I did was this turtle. With the help of a friend, I cut the shape of this snapping turtle, because inside they have a snapping turtle. And so it's hanging, as far as I know, it's still hanging above the tank of the snapping turtle inside this. This is me outside of the insurance center. So the park around is full of birds and wonderful things. It's an amazing park to go running and jogging. There is the river right there, full of turtles. And so I had a great experience. People would come in and I gave them pieces of paper to draw or doodle. And depending on the color scheme of the paper, I would glue it, the blues and the yellows and the oranges in the same area, so at the end the shape made sense. So many people, I told them, come back and see if you can find your piece when you see it hung. Okay, so this is the other artist residency that I did in Padua. This was this year in April. For a full month, I was in Padua. And when I applied, I thought, okay, this one I have a good chance to get in, because you had to pay for your own travel, your own lodging, your own food. They only gave you the studio. It's like, who else is going to be able to do that but me, that my family is 20 minutes away? So I was trying to get to see my family anyway. So instead of staying 1 week, I stayed a month. And I was just, staying with my mom and eating her food and sleeping in my bedroom and going to the studio every day. It was a wonderful experience. Through Raro Barcelona, which is Spain, is based in Spain. And while I was there, it was my first time going to Italy in all these years, just as an artist, without family, without having to have all the commitments. So I need to see my cousin, I need to see my friend, I need to see my schoolmates, I'm here for art. So I went to museums and art shows and different things, and it was really, really nice.
Either Florence or Italy?
I went to Venice, I went to Florence, and I went to Padua itself, has some very nice art galleries and museums. And so it was just amazing. I went to Florence one day, I took the train and I got to see the Uffizi. I spent most of the day at the Uffizi gallery that has probably thousands of artworks that are from the 1300s to the, 1900. Amazing experience.
Have that experience? Ah.
How is it you had that experience?
Oh, I traveled with the seminars for the last 30 years. Yeah.
And one of those trips was with the Cultural Arts Center in 2016,
Arts Center in Paris for a week and a half, or a week and I think it's.
It's always inspiring. Everywhere you look, it's full of art. So this, when I got there, my plane it was late. I missed the connection. It was a kind of an ordeal getting there. So they lost my luggage. My luggage didn't make it. They told me, we have it at the airport. We gave it to the courier. It's going to come to you. So every day I was waiting for the luggage. It took 5 days. So here I am in the artist studio doing my my residency without paint, without brushes. What am I doing? So I looked around my parents' house, and they had all because we sell shoes. That's the family business. They had all these shoe catalogs, and I found them, and I started making collages out of them. Just very maybe a preliminary drawing, but not even that. I was just grouping things by color and by if it's light, if it's dark. And so if you look, you can see the shoes in there, the flip-flops. Some have a very clear foot. Let me see if I have that one. No, it looks like I didn't include it. The sky on this one was on a student travel catalog from the 90s that was in my bedroom. So I said, okay, I'm going to use this. And I like that. The blue in the center is a piece of the flip flop, if you can see that. And you kind of see, I had fun with this. And they came out really nice and fresh. So I made 7 at the end because I couldn't stop. After the luggage arrived, I did 2 more, one a day for 7 days. And they are now at the Marsha Evans Gallery in my show. They are on view there. This is a group of some of the artists that were there in Padua, and it's a kind of a shared space with different artists sharing the studio space on 2 floors, and the energy was amazing. They were all, energetic, full of ideas, friendly. I had a blast. It was wonderful to get to know them.
Conclave here, right?
This was an evening that we were just, before I left, at the end of the month, we were like, okay, we need to do something. There is this common area upstairs with a table where we could eat. So we just gathered things from the supermarket nearby, and we were having a party just among us. And while I was there, they said, well, we're offering workshops at once a month. Do you want to teach one? I said, sure. So I had 2 mini workshops because some people could come on one night and some people could come on another day. And this is one of my students. So I had really a fun time teaching mixed media in Italian, which I didn't remember. I didn't know the names in Italian for many of the things because I learned everything that has to do with mixed media painting here in the United States. So like, do you know what a collage is? Do you know what a stencil is? I mean, I found that interesting that once I had to speak in Italian, I had to think harder about it, but it was nice. And they did a wonderful job, all of them. As my day job, I'm the art coordinator at the OSU Faculty Club, and it has been wonderful. I've been doing it for a year and a half, and not only have been enjoying working with artists and curating the shows there, it even got me a front page on a local magazine last year. They interviewed me, and then they had this nice article from Italy to the Oval, and they even had a picture of me and my husband. So in it, so it's like, and my work, this painting, the one at the top, was here at the Cultural Arts Center on view during one of the staff and student shows, I think 2022 probably, and it got People's Choice Award. So that was another moment of joy. Sorry. Currently, I have 17 paintings on view at the OSU College of Nursing. They have this brand new building, and on the second floor, they call it the Pizza Gallery, and I have 17 good-sized paintings, and most of them are my oils, my older paintings that I cannot show with my current paintings anymore because they look so different. It looks like somebody else made them. And so that's another problem that artists have. When you change style, you can't really show them together because people are confused. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? This is you as well? Yes. And so I think that it should come down next week, but I haven't heard from them yet. And I also have my solo show at Marsha Evans Gallery in the Short North. And these are currently I'm working on landscapes. I'm fascinated with the environment and I'm sorry. Oh boy. And all the challenges that the environment is facing right now. So I had a couple of years in which I painted only landscapes, and I painted only landscapes and with nothing in them that is man-made. I found myself, without realizing it, I was painting all these scenes. Some are from imagination, like the one that won the People's Choice here. And I think this one with the barn is one of the few landscapes that have a man-made subject element. And this is the barn on Kenny Road, the OSU barn for the veterinary college. But everything else is kind of like this, or with an animal in it that I add, or birds. And the book that I'm passing around, it's this one that is a collection, is my catalog for my current body of work, basically. And again, it's online for people to flip through, but I also wanted to print a few hard copies to honor this body of work. And I could click and show it to you, but I think the one before didn't show on the screen, so I don't think it works.
It was on one of your previous displays.
That-
This one kind of reminds me of, what was the inspiration there? Was that for the trees that you might see, like the trees of Lebanon?
You know,
It
if
reminds
you
me of
can
the
tell
tree.
me what tree that is, I would be very grateful to you. Because what happened with this is the painting that he's referring to. I went online and I found pictures of trees and I sketched them with pen on a little thumbnail in black. And I created a composition and then I closed my browser. And when I'm painting, I do that because in this particular case, I wanted to be free with the colors. I didn't want to be tied to a specific picture. I wanted to create my own colors. I just want to know what is dark and what is light. So I lost the reference and I don't know what tree it is. And people ask me, so what kind of tree is that? I don't know. So do you think it could be tree of Lebanon?
Yeah, actually, what this reminds me of more than anything else, especially from the previous display, was it reminds me of a painting that was especially called Parish Blue. It was originally done by Maxfield Parrish.
Oh,
Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he's one of my favorite artists when it comes to realism.
He was amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing illustrator and painter. Thank you. That's a great compliment. Yeah.
There some conversation here, some response, some questions. Yes.
I have a million questions. First of all, I apologize for my tardiness. Everything that I've seen so far is so inspiring. It kind of makes me nervous and intimidated. If I'm not mistaken, I think I heard you say that your background, career-wise, was in business.
Yes.
Okay. My career background is in engineering. I did not go to art school. I don't have an art degree. I've always dabbled here and there, but I've always been super, super self-conscious about sharing my work and showing it to people. What gave you the motivation to, become an artist yourself?
At the beginning, I couldn't fight it. I just found myself painting as soon as I had time. When the moment I didn't have a full-time job keeping me busy, I found that, okay, I'm going to buy paint. I'm going to have, which I always had paints, but, I bought some more. And I started painting because that's something that was always kind of an itch of mine, like a passion. And I didn't know any better. I guess the less you realize, the bolder you are, because you have the amazing artist community in Columbus can be intimidating. There are so many accomplished and talented artists, and they all have the art degree, right, under their belt. So I feel like at the beginning, I didn't really think about that. And I just did my thing because I loved to do it. And then I got to the point when I had so many paintings that I wanted to get them out of my studio, and I started showing them. Yes, because when you have many, then you feel like, okay, now maybe I can show them and try to show it to people. But I don't know if you were here when I said that one of the sentences from my son's teacher that stuck with me was "fake it until you make it," and that's part of this. It's part of not having an art degree, but still be painting and showing. And the other thing is that some people just have the talent to do things naturally. I'm lacking all the theory and the conceptual level that an art degree usually gives to people. I see a lot of people that went to art school that are more conceptual artists. I'm more like, this is how I paint. I like that image. That's what I paint. I like the subject matter and the process and the colors. But also I have another friend that I don't know if you ever, he was here and now he's in Vancouver Island in Canada. His name is Rajat Sambag. I don't know if you ever met him while he was here. He is an engineer and he came from India to study engineering in the United States. And he started painting on his weekends. He went out with a car parked on the mountains, slept in the car, and just painted every single weekend. And now he has left his engineering career and he's become a full-time artist. But it's through a lot of dedication and practice, and he took classes also with some renowned oil painters. What kind of art do you do? Do you painting?
I'm real nervous talking about it. I mostly painting, I draw as well.
Okay.
Mostly conceptual art.
So it's mainly painting and the 2 dimensional. The main thing is just keep doing it. Don't worry about people think. And it's something also that happens in life. Once you reach like 45, 50, it clicks in your mind also in the everyday life. I don't really care what people think. It's okay. You don't like me, it's okay. I'll just keep going with my life. It's part of I don't know, becoming old, I guess. But I think as an artist, once you put out your work out there, you feel vulnerable. You feel like, oh my gosh, people. I mean, I have my solo show up, and before the opening, you're like, oh, people are gonna come, they're gonna hate it, they're gonna think, what were you thinking? Why did you paint these things? Yes.
Well, Robbie, thank you for your inspiring
One second.
way. Huh.
When I put on a show.
And there's critics and all that. I'm at the age where I don't care.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. If you like it, fine. Just go out. I just go out and do it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I agree. One time you have to do that, otherwise it hurts you too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Let's have a round of applause.
Again, you're inspiring. Thank you. It was wonderful.